Oh, why hello, my dear old friend. It has been far too long. Over 10 years to be exact. But I cannot wait to see what more secrets lie beyond that door. Folks, in case you haven't heard, it's official. After just over 4 years of character refresh updates, Clay is officially rounding things out with the Wilson rework next week, March 16th. 2023. But I don't know if it's just me. In order to appreciate that, everything in between, and then what's to come, I believe we truly need to return to the beginning. Plus, Clay's teaser image for the upcoming Wilson animation is making me feel all nostalgic for all the other Wilson animations, like this guy here, Forbidden Knowledge. And while I would absolutely adore to sit here and react and break down these trailers given the 10 plus years of knowledge we now have, I just really want to note two things: his house, and of course, the influx of all that knowledge. As yes, in case you haven't guessed, this is not only an announcement video for those who haven't been paying attention the past 2 weeks, it's a way for us to sit down and perhaps reflect on the influences that made this Wilson rework what it was. So with that in mind, I want you to take this new Reign cinematic from 6 years ago and just realize that, yeah, Wilson kinda sat the Nightmare Throne, didn't he? And yeah, he kind of went toe-to-toe and face-to-face with Charlie herself. So when we put it all together like that, how are we truly feeling about what we actually have before us here? Because I gotta be honest, if you potentially go into this with everything I just presented to you, you probably have no idea what the heck is happening. But I digress. This should surprise no one. We have been on top of this release from the get-go and will continue to do so until the day comes. If you've been avoiding the beta because you don't want spoilers, now's probably your time to dive in because there probably won't be too much changing from these 5 videos here. But if you want a little fun before I break all of our hearts in a moment, you might want to check out the new Nightmare Werebig boss and or take a look at the absolute insanity that might still just be Wilson's alchemy skill tree. Oh, and complete side note, but I can also give you a tease of the Twitch drops that are also releasing next week Thursday, so you know, that's fun. But I'm not sitting my butt down to add to that excitement, everyone. At least not at the start here. But I also do not want to keep you very long because we've been talking about this for 2 weeks. We're going to talk about it next week. And there might even be a hotfix or two in between that time. So yeah, I gotta be honest, I'm also done talking about the Wilson rework. So here's the deal. Given the foundation that Clay gave us at the start here, the one that they chose, there has still been only 2 paths forward this entire time, no matter what other hotfixes have released. Keep the skill tree, remove the skill tree. Now, you might think that I'm going to start this conversation with the obvious. It's coming out next week. The skill tree is staying. That's just the way it is. But no, I'm going to talk the opposite side because I don't see a lot of people talking the opposite side. And here's my initial foundation for this conversation. We had 4 years of character refreshes, right? That's facts. No one can deny that. Have we seen a skill tree before? Spoiler alert! No, because we haven't needed it. Every single character has just gotten new additions to their base kit. And that's kind of the main point. Hear me out, everyone. If Clay didn't start with the skill tree and just allowed this new reworked Wilson to gain beard storage over time, to gain transmutations over time, and hell, I'll even say it, gain torch benefits over time, even though they're absolute garbage and completely ignorable, no one would be asking for a skill tree now, would they? So then I suppose it begs these questions. Why aren't some of these base kits? Because they just scream at everyone. He's had his beard this whole time. Why do we as players need to choose whether or not we get beard storage? He is a gentleman scientist, a failed one at that. So why do we have to pick and choose what transmutations he does? And side note, why aren't some of these transmutations really funny and stupid and failed? And third, and this is more complaint than question, what the heck is that torch tree, man? Holy. So before we move on to the other side of this, the keeping of the skill tree and why that's a problem, but it's still gonna be there anyway, I just want to say this. Clay, you limited your creative ability with this rework by jamming it all into just an unneeded system and just a compact skill tree that completely limits the horizon of what Wilson could have been still as a basic character. We should have just been able to progress through the game naturally, as we're going to talk about here in a moment, and then earn and gain benefits that way. Think Skyrim, everyone. That's probably the best way I could put it. But yes, before I don't catch myself rambling too much because I can feel it in my bones, I just want to talk more about how terrible the decisions of this rework were, but whatever. Let's talk why the skill tree and how the skill tree, yada, yada, yada. Okay, we're keeping the skill tree, right? It's coming out next week. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The skill tree is coming. Fine, great, whatever. Clay probably thinks that they're going to give us freedom to pick and choose what perks we want to do. But let's remember, 15 points. That's it. 15 insight points are the max. And when we earn one of those points, we keep them forever. No matter what. It doesn't matter if we completely change worlds. So after 160 days, be that a legit 160 days or a cheated 160 days, which is absolutely going to be in the realm that most of us are going to be in mind, the skill tree doesn't matter anymore. Insight mechanic doesn't matter anymore. So what happened there? Like, am I crazy? Or are other people thinking this? Once we earn the 15 points, once we spend them on the skill tree, because let's face it, most of us are also going to go down the exact same trees every time, even if there's a few differences here and there, we as players are going to play how we want to play every time because we don't have much freedom here because of the compact tree. The skill tree and the insight system is gone. So the main aspect of your rework becomes meaningless. Just like that. Through the gameplay you want us to do. As I said, if you wanted to keep him basic as a tutorial character, you had the answer right in front of you. You could have had so many beneficial things gained over time through learning and doing the gameplay of Don't Starve Together in Wilson. It's perfect, but now you added an unnecessary system that literally kills itself after one time going through it. And yes, we knew this was coming. We have to talk the skills themselves, do we not? Of which over half of them are completely ignorable, and you're probably only going to unlock them to make sure you unlock the Shadow Courtier skill, am I right? The Beard skill, fine, but I'm really only ever going to choose it growing faster so I can get beard storage because the installation is not that great. The alchemy tree has its uses, I am not going to lie, but everyone is going to go straight down the middle in order to get the iridescent gem as quickly as possible, and then once they get that, they might branch out a little bit, but that's going to be the path forward. Every time. Once again, illusion of player choice. And then the torch side, holy garbage. Straight, I'm not even going to hold back anymore. Awful, awful decision. It's not even about helping new players anymore. Not at all. Nope. Because guess what? You can't even unlock any of the things that are going to help new players until you last 29 days in order to even unlock the full skill tree itself. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. The whole system is just working against itself. Now listen, I'm probably preaching to the choir in some cases while also just sounding like an absolute ungrateful you-know-what to others because it is what it is. It's coming out next week. None of my words today are going to change anything. Not at all. But, I don't often sit here and just say what I'm about to say. But, yeah, this wasn't good, Clay. In my opinion, this was the worst rework you have ever done. You limited yourself in your creative freedoms with what could have been really fun, and with the influences that you gave us over the years, things that should have told us what a Wilson rework was going to be, you barely touched on it. You did the bare minimum. No fun transmutations. No indication of him being really a scientist whatsoever. So what the heck's that about? He came face to face with Charlie. He literally sat the Nightmare Throne. And what you gave us is he's going to take 10% less damage from shadows and deal 10% more damage to lunar aligned things. And then he is the only one that is able to transmute the new shadow stuff, which that's a whole other conversation entirely. How that makes any sense whatsoever gameplay wise is unbelievable, and once again, so limiting. You lock the true potential of what should just be base Wilson perks behind an unneeded system of us unlocking things and trying to choose things ourselves that we can just cheat anyway, so it's not gonna matter when it first comes out. Seriously, I'm gonna load in, just cheat 160 days, I have 15 points, done, Wilson rework, over. It's just, again, the entire thing just is wrong, it's bad, but now I'm definitely reaching that point where I'm talking too much. So I will say this. I'm happy about the Nightmare Wear pick at least. Yeah, folks, I'm done. This reached the point where I didn't want it to reach, but I'm here now, where I'm just like, yeah, I give up. I give up. I'm talking too much. I'm rambling. I'm probably approaching complaining. I tried my best to be as objective as I could by, really explaining what's happening here, because there's true gameplay, influence here that just doesn't necessarily match with what we got for 4 years before with every other character refresh, and what it means for the future too. Do not give other characters skill trees. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna flip this table if you do. But yeah, folks, I'm done. Wilson Rework coming next week. Trust me, we're still gonna be covering it no matter what, but my opinion has now been made known. It's terrible. I don't like it at all. It's the worst one they've ever done, and that's saying something. Hopefully, maybe something changes down the line. I know a lot of people are going to be really, really angry at me in the comments today, but it doesn't matter. It's my opinion. You can have yours too. I'm just sharing it to the internets. Joyous me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.